Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, along with Lorraine and Kathy. And it is time for Ask a Crafter. There goes Lorraine's phone. Don't they know?
I know.
How dare they bother you? We're taping. We're in the second week of March, and it is National Craft Month. Did you guys know that?
I did not.
I did.
You did?
Started celebrating
I've seen
already.
it a couple of times.
Oh, cool. I'm going to start today.
Yeah, great idea. That's a great way to celebrate.
Yeah.
My husband goes, thank goodness, a reason for you to craft this month. What were you going to do?
Yeah, I started celebrating last weekend when I put an order into Photobella.
Ooh, geez, some more Prima Doll stamps.
Some more, yeah, that's probably an understatement. But
How many more do they have? You have all kinds.
I got pretty much all that I didn't have.
Wow,
Are those
cool.
the paper dolls?
Play date at Kathy's house.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I
just pretend you didn't hear this, but I also bought you the watercolor face and hair pencils for your birthday, but I don't want you to get them, which is why I'm telling you.
Well, you know, that's kind of perfect because
Awesome deals, by the way.
Hallmark Scrapbook is sending me everything except for the hair and skin tones because they were back ordered
Oh.
for me to do a demo with. So I'm going to be all set.
That's
Yeah,
great.
well, I thought they'd probably be like $20.
Yeah.
They're like $13 normally, but they were on sale for $11. I was like,
nice.
I gotta get these now, and I'm gonna get these for Lindsay for her birthday, and I'm gonna have to tell her because I'm sure she'll probably order them because we just had a conversation about how she thought that she probably really could use those. Not that she needed more pencils, but those really
Oh, yeah, she does.
seem like they're pretty cool. So
Yeah, and no, it's nice
I'm
to see them
excited. I
finally
can't
out.
wait. I probably have 2 to 5 more days to wait for it to get here.
Yay, we'll go over to her house. We should do Ask a Crafter from her house. It's probably
Yeah.
warmer. Although it is warming up down here now that
Oh, yeah.
spring is threatening to eventually get here. Once the 3 feet of snow melt away. Oh, so do you have any National Craft Month plans other than
No, I'm going to have to make some, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have to make that baby quilt.
Yeah, I'll have to start
Oh,
that
that's
baby
right,
quilt because
that's
I've
right.
only got like a week and a half to get it done.
Oh
Why
my.
only a week and a half?
That's when the baby's due.
I thought she was due in April. Why did I
No.
think that?
No.
What is wrong with you? That baby's gonna be cold. Have you seen the snow? You gotta get that blankie done.
You're on the sick, Lorraine. I gotta frame your cross stitch so it can hang on the baby's wall.
No, it's
Oh,
the
boy.
last baby.
Oh, that's not even this baby now. All right, who's gonna read the first question?
Okay.
Lorraine looks ready.
Rare Cat asked, did I hear you say Stampin' Up! Ink is not permanent? I have a full set of Close to My Heart, which is likely to be the same. Can you suggest a list of ones that are safe to use in a heritage scrapbook and will not fade or bleed into pictures, pH neutral, etc.?
Your ink is going to be fine. When I'm talking about like a permanent ink, a lot of times I'm referring to something you can watercolor over that's not going to run, or like a pigment ink that you can like have out like on the wall and it's not going to fade. Your stamping, your dye-based ink in a scrapbook should be fine. I mean, if it fades, it's going to be very minimal. You're Close to My Heart. That's a scrapbooking company.
Right.
Their inks are going to be fine to use in your scrapbooks. But if you were like to stamp with Close to My Heart ink and then try to watercolor the image, it's probably going to bleed. So that's what I meant by permanent, meaning it can, I should say resoluble, but I hate to introduce more terminology that might make people more confused.
yeah.
But you go right ahead. Close to My Heart inks are going to be absolutely fine to use in your scrapbooks. I mean, if you buy something from a scrapbooking company, generally it's going to be just fine.
Especially a well-known one like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Keep them, use them, have fun with it.
Crafting Mama, what is a jelly plate? I have heard you mention it in the past Ask a Crafter videos, but I'm wondering what they are used for. As always, thanks for being the Wonder Woman of crafting and answering our questions.
Yeah, geez, I should go on a diet. Maybe I can wear the Wonder Woman costume before spring gets here. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
And there goes Bruce again. A jelly plate is a permanent gelatin printing plate. So, like back in the, I guess I took a gelatin, like an actual gelatin printing class back in, probably about 2004. And you make like almost like a Jell-O jiggler, except you're using unflavored gelatin, a firm gelatin plate, and you do prints on it. It's a wonderful surface. So the jelly plate is a permanent version of that you can buy from an art supply store, and it is fantastic. I also have I have a couple videos on how to make a regular one and also how to make a permanent one yourself. which is slightly softer than a jelly plate. It's basically a squishy pad you bray your ink onto. You can press things in to make textures or draw textures in with soft rubbery tools or fun foam or whatever you want, and then you pull prints. It's a printmaking plate. Now I know somebody else also asked about the creative palette, and I think we'll probably draw that question out, but I want to do it here right now because I'm just going to mention it. The creative palette is another type of jelly plate, but it is thinner and it is harder, and it doesn't work quite as well based on any information that I've looked up online. And I also saw there's a couple of really good videos from Craft Test Dummies, where they compare homemade versus store-bought versus the creative palette, so you can see all those compared, and it does seem like the jelly plate or the homemade plates are the way to go. But it's just a printmaking plate, and it's a lot of fun. But before you spend the money on that, I would definitely just make a regular one out of gelatin, see if you like it before you decide to spend the money, because I mean, you can get a little box of unflavored gelatin for a couple bucks and do it, and you can even pop it in the freezer if you don't want to make a permanent plate.
So you want to make a note to lead into because you have a video to how to make it, right?
Yes. Oh yes, I should put a link. Yeah. You want to write it? You can write it.
Yeah.
Lauren, give us another question.
Okay. Violin Girl 79 says, "Hello ladies, please could you give me some tips on die cutting embossing machines for a complete beginner? Do all dies work in all machines? Are some machines better than others? I've got a few dies and more embossing folders free from magazines over the last few months. I'd really like to start using them. Thanks so much for your thoughts and tips and expertise, Pam."
Okay, and we also have another related question. I'll have you read that too, and then I'll answer them together because they...
Rosanna
Rosanna asks...
Hi Lindsay, questions for maybe next episode. Which do you think you get more bang for your buck with? Big Shot, Sizzix, Cricut, Cuttlebug, or Silhouette, or some other die cutting machine? I want to invest in one, but I want one that I can do almost any die cutting on.
Okay, first I'll talk about manual machines. Manual machines are die cutters where you buy a physical die. It can be a thick die for cutting thick fabric such as balsa wood, foam, felt, fabric, or it can be thinner dies. It can be used for cutting thinner materials such as paper, fabric. You can even cut fun foam with the thinner dies. And those machines operate, usually they have a couple steel rollers in it, and you crank the die through with your paper on top and you get your die cut piece. Whereas an electric machine cuts from either a cartridge which contains computer files of shapes that you would cut, or you can hook to your computer and cut. For a manual machine, I've had a Big Shot for about 10 years and I absolutely love it. I've never had any problems. I even took it apart once because I got a plate stuck in there, which only happened once. I did, and I was able to take it apart enough to get the plate out and then tighten everything back up, and it was perfect. And they also have a 1-year warranty on the Big Shot. At least it always had. The Big Kick, which is essentially the same thing, has a 3-month warranty, I think. So I think that's the only difference. But I definitely would recommend a Big Shot. It is manual. If you want a machine that you can just push a button and send your dies through, which I don't know if I would really trust it, because when you have a motor that can go by and you don't have the optional crank. Right. Tim Holtz has one called the Vagabond, which is very, cute. It looks like a suitcase. It's of course, gorgeous and, 10 times more because it says Tim Holtz on it. No, it's not 10 times more, but it's the same thing, but it's motorized and it looks a little different. The Big Shot is made by different lines have licensed the Big Shot. You can get it from Stampin' Up, you can get it from Vintage, you can get it from Sizzix, but it's all basically the same machine. And I would recommend that. If space is an ultimate concern and you cannot have a Big Shot, which is about that wide, on your table, you could try the Cuttlebug, which has sides that fold up and it kind of suctions to your table. I will tell you though, it feels like you're using a toy after using the Big Shot. And there's also there's so many other machines, but
the Excalibur, right?
the Excalibur by Spellbinders. That will take wider dies, but I don't think it takes a really thick one.
Oh really?
Because it looks like
and that's not really any
thinner.
Smaller.
Not really. Kind of and you have to crank it a lot more to get it to go through. The Big Shot takes fewer cranks than any other machine. Big Shot also has a Big Shot Pro, which has a 12-inch wide cutting platform, I believe. It would be very cool. It's also $300, so it's about 3 times.
But you won't have to ever buy another one if yours has lasted for 10 years.
Yeah, there's another die cutting machine on the market that I've never tried, but it looks pretty good, and it's by Cherry Lynn, and I believe it's wider, and it's got a dial so you can adjust pressure, so you don't have to mess around with the sandwiches.
That's pretty new, isn't it?
I think it just came out last March, so it's just like a year old. That looks really good. I mean, but like I said, I've been really happy with my Big Shot. It only does 6-inch wide dies. I've also used an AccuCut machine at my sister's store because she has it, you know, and that takes 12-inch wide, really thick dies. Dies that are too thick to fit through my machine, but those are commercial use dies, and those machines start at like $400, so that's probably a little bit out of the range. And their dies are really expensive too.
Oh, really?
But they're meant for like cutting a million times and selling the cuts, so that's why. But if anybody has any advice, they love a machine, please leave a link below. As far as electronic cutters, I've had a lot of really wonderful things said about the Silhouette, which you have.
Yes.
I've had wonderful things said about Pazzles, which actually they were the ones that designed the Cricut, but then they broke apart, and I hear that Pazzles is excellent. I've used the Sussex Eclipse, which works very similar to the Cricut. The consumables are less cost than the Cricut, so you're going to pay less, and you can also use it with your computer with software. eCuts a lot is a software for that, so you're not stuck to just cartridges, but if you want to use cartridges, that's the option. There's a Brother Scan and Cut, which I think is really interesting, and I really want to try one, but I never have. But the thing I like about that, everybody's so crazy about the stamps with the dies that match.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the Brother Scan and Cut, apparently you could like stamp a whole sheet full of images, zap it through there, and there's a little scanner in the die cutter, scans it, and then it cuts around the edges. I don't know if I believe it's that easy, but from what I've seen it demonstrated online, and it looks fantastic. My Cricut Expression still works just fine. I have the old software that you can't buy anymore that will let me cut my fonts in my computer files, so it's still working fine for me. But if I had to get another one, I probably would be looking seriously at the Brother Scan and Cut or the Silhouette. I like the Eclipse. We got the Eclipse for the teachers, the PTG, for the teachers at school, and I find it very easy to use and cut really well, and the consumables were much less. But I don't know if it's as accurate as the Silhouette. I think it might be a little less accurate, but it's still, you know, Price is Right. It's like, I don't know, $260. I think that's about what the Silhouette costs.
Yeah, I think I got mine for a little bit cheaper than that. A little bundle deal. But
I really would not suggest a Cricut. I know a lot of people have Cricuts, just because they're so proprietary and they limit what you can cut, and they have these wonky subscription services where, you know, you're basically renting files every month, and if you stop having that subscription, you don't have the files. So with their new machines, I just don't trust it. When I buy a machine, I want to be able to use whatever I want in it. When I buy a printer, I want to be able to use the ink I want. I want to be able to use the paper I want. I want to be able to, you know, be able to save money on the consumables. Like I mentioned in the last video where we're talking about binding machines, I got one that took office binding combs, because I know I can always get them. I'm not going to be up a creek 3 years when the company goes bankrupt and I can't get the parts anymore. So, anybody have anything to add on the electronic front?
No, I just have the old Cricut, old Cricut.
Yep.
But I don't use it much anymore. I just love the Big Shot.
Yep. Yeah, the dies we've kind of come all the way around, because before all that was available with the dies, like with this old red Sussex machine, you had to pump down on and break your wrist.
I have one of those.
Oh,
really? Too.
Oh,
it's not. I have a pick too. I have a big pick.
Yeah.
So I don't even take that out or use it anymore. But,
oh yeah, I remember using that once at a crop, and I'm thinking I am never gonna get one of these things. Those were such a pain, but when you could crank them through, that was so much better.
Yeah, when they came.
But then we all got sick of spending so much money on all those darn dies, and we all got electronic machines.
You have storage.
Yeah, storage issues. So.
But the thing about those big dies is that you can cut so much, and you can cut, 4 or 5 layers of paper at once.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. When you get ready for a class, absolutely. When I'm getting ready for a kids class, I can crank through, like, cut out 25 leaves at a time. I mean, absolutely.
And my kids can run it too. So with no problems.
Yeah.
I did want to say something that I had seen as a hint or whatever on die cutting from Stephanie Bernard, is she talks about making speed bumps when you're die cutting, that when your die comes up and it's like going to hit the cutting part all at once, kind of has to hop up.
Yeah.
That it's much better if you can kind of angle it, so it kind of
angle the die inside the plates.
Kind of angle it, and it will make a much better cut and keeps the
That's
pressure
a good
more
idea.
even. And I just had thought, it's like, I got to remember to talk about that when we're on screen to say, because it seemed to make a lot of sense, and I'm surprised that I hadn't kind of been out there a little more.
Well, that's funny because when you're using the AccuCut machine, like at my sister's store, you put it in the corner
center.
first. Yeah. Yep. So that's a great tip.
So it makes
Thanks, Stephanie Bernard. Fabulous tip. All right. What do we have now? What's the next question?
Melly Ison.
Yep.
Okay. I have a dilemma, and maybe you or someone could help. I purchased one of those cute wrap bracelets. Well, it's supposed to wrap 5 times. Well, my wrist is too plump for 5 wraps, but not plump enough for 4. So either I need to put my wrist on a starvation diet, or I need to eat a ton more biscuits and gravy. Now I'm up for the challenge of the biscuits and gravy, but then I would have more than the bracelet that wouldn't fit. LOL. So without unwrapping anything, is there a way to add some length to the bracelet without too much deconstruction of the bracelet? Thanks ever so much.
Well, they make these clasps. They're almost like a really big jumper, and not that big, probably about the size of a quarter. And you can open them up, and you could grab 2 ends, so you could probably connect those 2 pieces that aren't quite connecting, or you could add a small length of chain. You just use a couple of pairs of pliers to open up a link on the chain, cut it to the length you want, and then add a little bit of length of chain to pull those 2 ends together that you need to. I think that would work. What do you guys think?
I would think so.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure. I know what she's actually talking about, because I have like the coil bracelet that I kind of have to wrap to put on, but it's just like the memory wire, and it's not. It doesn't connect. It's not connected.
Yeah. So she's got a leather. No, she's got a leather wrap bracelet, I think, and so it's probably not coming close enough to clasp. So I think just a little, either one of those large clasps that you could get at in the finding section at like Joann's or AC Moore. Just be wide enough to grab both of your ends, or you can just use a short piece of chain just to connect.
Yeah, like the necklace, the little extenders for a necklace.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, and it's so hard. I know, like for making jewelry, I have small wrists, so when I make a bracelet for myself, and I give it to a friend, and they're like, I can't. This is just too small. I need it a little bit bigger. Yeah. And then if like a regular size bracelet will slide off, because my hands are small. So, I think it probably depends on who's making the bracelet, too, what size it ends up.
That's true. Okay, Starwolf 539 and Lindy Lee want to know, what is a crop? Is this some kind of a class, or just a bunch of crafters doing something together?
It's kind of, well, it could be both. And Lindy Lee, we love Lindy Lee, who does the compilation list of the subjects in the video. We love that. A crop, well, we crop. It's usually just like a group of women getting together to work on their own scrapbooking projects or card making projects or whatever you want to work with.
Men too. I've had men in
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really? I've never seen the elusive man scrapbooker.
Yeah. He's done some wonderful scrapbooks.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, but it's usually will take place at like a community center, like a church or a school, or sometimes a scrapbooking store if you're lucky enough to have one of those around still. Yeah. But yeah, it's usually kind of like an open studio time where anyone just works on what they're working on. Sometimes you'll sign up for like a weekend crop or an all-day crop, and there'll be like a fee associated, but you'll get like a little class, or there might be a lunch. I know Nancy used to do those all-day scrapbooks, and she would provide lunch, and she'd do a little class. Yeah. But it's basically just a fun time for people to get together and work on what they're working on. No judgment, just getting together and
visit and just.
I think obviously the concept probably came from cropping your photos down. So it was originally kind of came about because of the scrapbooking thing. But I mean, we've done it with the church before, and people have come and worked on Christmas, or, Christmas ornaments or
whatever you want. Yeah, it's just like getting
or
together.
Cards or scrapbooking, and
sometimes we don't get a darn thing done. We order takeout. We talk about scrapbooking. Look at some magazines, eat some Chinese food.
That's a good idea.
Tell our husbands we're getting all kinds of things done. Oh, I think that's about all the time we have for today. But please leave your questions below, and we will get to them on a future episode of Ask a Crafter. Give us a thumbs up if you love crafty goodness. And until next time, happy crafting.